Our next speaker for the day is going to be Vacher. Kai is an elected member of the COBIS Board of Directors, country representative of BSME, and earlier this year he was made a High Performance Learning Fellow, recognizing his commitment to HPL philosophy and the contribution that he has made to leadership in global context. Let's go ahead and welcome him on board.
Cool. Hi there, and thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this virtual summit. It's a privilege to be able to engage with educators across the kingdom and across the region and across the world. And so greetings here from Amman, where the weather is very comfortable today. So I'm going to tell you a story in the next 20 minutes or so about something we've called Flexed. And the question that I posed in the program was, is it time to reimagine education to be more adventurous, captivating and flexible? And maybe this little story, and it's a true story, might help us think about that question. So what is Flexed? Well, prior to the pandemic, in November 2019, British School Salalah and British School Muscat, two schools in Amman, and I'll show you where they are in a moment, worked in partnership, have been working in partnership across a distance of 1,500 kilometres to create Flexed or FlexEd. And FlexEd is an innovative IGCSE curriculum for a small group of students in Salalah. And Flexed combines face-to-face learning, online teaching and independent study at an affordable price point for less than 10 students. So let's move the story along a bit. So this is the entrance to British School Salalah, a very delightful school that we have been taking responsibility for since the summer of 2019. But British School Salalah, like British School Muscat, has been in Amman for more than 50 years. And here's some of the students at British School Salalah. As you can see, it's a delightful school, lovely grounds. But the reason I'm sharing this picture with you is because these students are in the current, what we call Key Stage 4, years 10 or grades 10 and 11. And if it wasn't for Flexed, these students would not be at the British School Salalah. These students would probably not even be in Salalah, nor would their families. Because before Flexed, there was no IGCSE programme at British School Salalah. It was too small, or was said to be too small to support a small group of students. So once these students got to grade 9, they and their families would have to leave Salalah. So this Flexed programme has been life-changing for these young people. And I'm delighted that they are not only at British School Salalah still, they are enjoying and they are thriving and they are flourishing through the Flexed programme. So a bit of geography first. What would you expect from a geography teacher? So British School Muscat, we're on the northern coast of Amman. And then I said in 2019, the Ministry of Education here in Amman advised us that we had full responsibility also for British School Salalah, approximately 1,500 kilometres away. And if you know Amman, or if you don't know Amman, the journey from Muscat to Salalah is long. The road is long. You go through many different types of desert. You will see camels. If you go along the coast, you will see turtles. And as you go through this wonderful journey from Muscat to Salalah or Salalah to Muscat, the last 2 or 3 hours as you approach Salalah, you drive along some of the most magnificent coastal scenery you would ever see anywhere in the world. You know when you're getting to Salalah on this road trip when you start to see more camels. And camels on the beach is not an unusual sight as you approach Salalah. And you can also tell if you're going in the summer months that as you approach Salalah, maybe an hour, hour and a half out of Salalah, it starts to turn green. The desert starts to turn green. Because between June and September in Salalah, they have what they call the Harif season, where cloud comes in and covers the whole Dhofar region. There is rain, there is mist, and it's around 25 degrees centigrade when the rest of the Middle East region is probably sweltering in temperatures of 40 degrees plus. So it's maybe not surprising that Salalah during the summer months attracts tourists not only from Oman, but from right across the Middle East region. And in 2019, in the Harif season, there were nearly 1 million tourists that visited Salalah during the Harif season. And this special climate means that with a little bit more investment, Salalah could be the tropical fruit basket of the Middle East. And all these fruits that you see in this picture and you see sold along the roadside in Salalah, throughout Salalah, there are at least 10 fruits there which you could identify, which are grown in Salalah. But we're not here to talk about tropical fruits, we're here to talk about education. And this is British School Salalah. As you can see, it's a very simple school, it's a delightful school, but it's just a couple of blocks of classrooms. There are about 180 children, mostly of the primary school age. And up until September 2020, the school went up to age 14, or to the end of Key Stage 3. There was no IGC program, because while the school was big enough to support a traditional primary school, it was just about big enough to support small groups of students in the senior school in grades 7, 8, and 9, with maybe 7 or 8 students in a class in the whole year group. So 7 or 8 students in year 7, 7 or 8 students in year 8, 7 or 8 students in year 9. And so when I went down to visit the school in November 2019, and I met some of the parents for maybe only the second time since we've been working in partnership, the parents of the year 9 students said to me, Mr. Vacher, what is going to happen next year when our children go up into year 10? And I said, well, there is no year 10. And they said, yes, we know that, Mr. Vacher, but what are you going to do about it? I said, well, for a GCSE program, you need specialist teachers, you need specialist facilities, and we've only got 7 students in year 9. That number of students cannot support a full IGCSE program. And they said, yes, Mr. Vacher, we know that, but what are you going to do for our children? So fortunately, I've been traveling down to Salalah with my very good colleague and director of IT, Les Johnson. And we had been playing around with the idea of, is there any way possible we could create an IGCSE program for 7 students? What might that look like? Or would we have to take a much more difficult decision and say, well, we not only can't afford a Key Stage 4 program, we actually can't even afford a Key Stage 3 program. Perhaps we just need to close down the senior school and just focus on growing the primary school. But when I was at the school and I looked in the parents' eyes and they looked in my eyes and they said to me, Mr. Vacher, what can you do for our children? That went straight to my heart, to my sense of responsibility that we had for these children. And I thought, we must be able to come up with some sort of solution that would enable these children to continue to learn at this delightful school. And not only that, we at the time, and now more than ever, saw huge potential in this school, this delightful school. We had taken responsibility for it. We had taken it into our hearts, and we have taken it into our hearts, and we want to try and grow and develop and improve the school. And if we could show that a Key Stage 4 and IGCSE program was possible in a small school like this, that would encourage more of the parents and the children to stay at the school for longer, and that would help us to grow the school. And if we could grow the school, we could help make the school even better. So what did we do? We started to get creative, and the problem or the challenge we had, that to create this Key Stage 4 curriculum, we had 7 students and we had 1 maths teacher and 1 English teacher who were already teaching in the senior school. That was our teaching staff. So how do we make an IGCSE program from 2 teachers, 1 maths and 1 English? So we went really back to what Stephen Covey would call, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with Stephen Covey's 7 habits of highly effective people. You begin with the end in mind. When you think about a problem or challenge, begin with the end in mind. What do these students need when they leave British School Salalah? Well, pretty much all of them wanted to progress to university. So then we asked ourselves, if they are going to progress to university, what do they need? How many IGCSEs do they really need as a minimum entry requirement? And what can we offer which might help to meet that need? Well, we looked at one of the most innovative schools in the UK. It's been around for nearly 130 years. It's called Bedales. And this is, as I say, one of the most innovative and forward-looking independent schools. And this is their Key Stage 4, their IGCSE curriculum, or their GCSE curriculum. Core examined subjects: English, maths, modern language, science. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 subjects. Non-examined subject: sport, additional GCSEs if required, Latin and music, and then their own at Bedales advanced courses. So the core curriculum at this very prestigious and innovative independent school in the UK is 5 GCSEs. And why is that? Well, because one of the reasons one of the reasons is because Bedales is a bit disillusioned with GCSEs. The other reason is that to get into university, that you only actually need English, maths, and 3 other subjects. So you only need 5 GCSEs as a minimum entry requirement to get into university, plus your A-levels or your IB. So we thought, okay, that makes it a bit more manageable. If we only had to do 5 GCSEs rather than maybe 9 or 10, which is the traditional GCSE model, can we get anywhere near 5? So as I said, we've got an English teacher, we've got a maths teacher. So that's 2 out of the 5. And then Les, my director of IT, and remember this is pre-pandemic, not many of us had gone into online learning at that point. 4 months later, 5 months later, it would be a different story. November 2019. Les said, well, we've got a pretty good science team and we've got a pretty good computer science teacher. They're pretty tech savvy. Couldn't they teach the kids from Muscat online to Salalah? Really? You think that's possible? I said, yeah, of course it's possible. Yeah, we've recently upgraded the IT in both schools. We've moved to Google Classroom. There's a good internet connection, even though they're 1,500 kilometers apart. Yeah, we can do that. So that we then start to build a model. English and maths by the Salalah teachers face to face. Then could biology, physics and chemistry and computer science be taught online from the teachers in Muscat beaming down to the students in Salalah? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we've got 6 subjects then, if we can do that. And then we've got an Arabic teacher in Salalah who teaches primary. They could continue Arabic, but not GCSE. The English teacher could teach music, but not GCSE, art, drama, PE, global citizenship. We could do all these subjects, but not at GCSE level, but we could create a more balanced curriculum in addition to English, maths, and the 4 sciences. And that's what we've been delivering now for the last 18 months. So this is John. He's the enthusiastic English teacher who also teaches music, who also really coordinates the whole Flex program down in Salalah. This is Sunny, and he teaches maths. So the students have face-to-face English and maths teaching. And then this is our school in Muscat, and those are our science classrooms. And from there, from those science classrooms, we teach the students in Salalah, 1,500 kilometres away, physics, chemistry, biology with our Muscat teachers, and the computer science teacher who's over in the block on the left, he teaches them science, computer science. So these students, they have English and maths face-to-face in the traditional way. They have computer science, biology, physics, chemistry taught online. And they have a normal timetable. They are in school from the start of school on Sunday to the end of school on Thursday afternoon. And the parents, when we were speaking to the parents about this model, were very, very keen and insistent, actually, that whatever model we chose, their children would be in school. So their children are in school full time, and about a third of the time they have face-to-face teaching. About a third of the time they have online teaching through their Google Chromebooks. And a third of the time they are doing independent study supported by this Century Tech program, which I'm sure many of you will have come across, an artificially intelligence-powered platform that helps and supports students to study independently. And they cover all subjects from Key Stage 2 right to the end of Key Stage 4. So this can support what the students are studying in maths, in English, in the sciences, in computer science, and that supports their independent study. So that's what we created 18 months ago, and 18 months on, those students are now 5 or 6 months away from their first GCSE exams, studying in this way. And the teachers are confident and the students are confident that they will enjoy a significant degree of success in their exams this summer. The students and the parents that are engaging with Flexed are so happy with it that about a month ago, they started to ask John and Sunny, their teachers in Salalah, so what's happening next year? What's happening after year 11, post 16? Is Flex going to continue, sir? So I started to discuss this with Sunny and with John and with the teachers here in Muscat and with Century, our partner in this. And I went down to Salalah just a couple of weeks ago and started to talk to students about it. So why would our students in Salalah want to continue with Flexed and not maybe engage with one of these online schools that are already out there? I mean, you might have heard of Pearson Online Academy, that's going on around the globe. Harris School Online, which is partly powered by Pearson Online Academy. King's College Online, Pomosia, which does IB Online. Yeah, there are these large commercial organizations that are offering an online academy. Why would they want to continue with Flexed, organized by Salalah, British School Salalah and British School Muscat? Why not join one of these global programs? Well, I think the answer is quite simple. The parents and the children, however much they might enjoy and benefit from online learning, the children want to be in school. They want, believe it or not, to go to school every day and meet their classmates. They want to meet at least some of their teachers face to face. And I think one of the things we have been learning from the pandemic over the last 18 months is that, yes, many schools and teachers can deliver really quality online learning. But for most or for many students, they still want at least some face-to-face connection with their teachers and with their classmates. So Flexed is in school. Pearson Online is fully online. King's College is fully online. Flexed, they spend some time in school. So we've started to think about what A-levels at Flex might look like, and we're starting to shape up a model. The teachers are thinking hard about it. We've talked to students about what subjects they'd ideally like to choose. So I will be discussing this with my colleagues further over the next couple of months. We'll be discussing it with our students in Slala and with the parents there. And at the moment, I am confident that Flex can evolve from a successful, what seems to be a very successful GCSE program into a successful A-level program. Even better if, you might ask. What would be even better if? Well, the original idea of Flexed, which we started to design in November 2019, before COVID, was that every term the science teachers from Muscat would go down to Slala and they would spend maybe a couple of days where they would do the practical work, then meet the students face to face, and that would happen at least once a term. That hasn't happened yet because of the travel restrictions of COVID, but I'm delighted that this coming January, so in just over, within 2 months, our science teachers will be traveling down to Slala, they will be meeting the students face to face, and they will be doing some practical sessions with the students. And so the younger students in Slala are now starting to look up to the older students in the school, and they can see there is a future for them at the school. If they wish to stay in Slala and they want to stay at school, there is a future beyond the primary school. There is a future beyond Key Stage 3, and there is actually even a future now beyond Key Stage 4 if they want to stay at British School Slala. So I guess this, for me, starts to raise some bigger questions about the future of education and, what is the place, if any, for blended pedagogies in education now as we move forward. The old normal was face-to-face. Then we had COVID and we had lots of home learning. Are we now moving into a world where blended pedagogies do continue to have a role in the educational landscape? And I guess maybe an even bigger question. Today, 263 million children are not in school. They have not got access to school. It's not because they're ill or they don't want to go to school. 263 million children around the world are not in school. And one of the United Nations goals for 2030 is that we should try and get all these children accessing education in the next 8 years. Do models like Flexed start to offer up maybe some ideas about how we might ensure that these 263 million children who cannot access school can start to access learning, because they haven't been able to do that so far. So, a few questions there to pose. It's been a fantastic journey, and if you have any questions now, I think we have a few minutes to take those. Okay. So, got one question coming already. Will renewed focus on career and technical education stimulate smart investments in ways to better prepare for young people for the future? Yeah, I mean, that seems a pretty broad question. So yeah, this is very much what we've been doing with Flex, is very much a traditional, if you like, IGCSE program. We've been talking with the Ministry of Education here in Oman over the last couple of months about the work we do here with BTECs, which are obviously offering technical and vocational education for students both at Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5. So yes, I would hope that there is a continued investment in career and technical education. And I guess my philosophy is that we shouldn't separate, if you like, technical education from vocational education, from academic education. To me, they're all parts of education. I mean, my daughter's studying to be a doctor at the moment. Is that not vocational education? But someone would say she's studying academic subjects. Anyway, there's a whole debate there around the positioning of vocational education. But I think one of the things that we're really keen to do, we've also been keen to do with the GCSE programme in Salalah, is we might be able to offer only a limited number of A-level subjects because we've got a very small number of students. But I am also very keen to make sure that in addition to, let's say, maths, chemistry, biology, and maybe English, they seem very popular at the moment with those students in year 11 for A-level, that we would be able to offer the opportunities for students to get involved with creative projects which would help them develop their leadership skills, their team building skills, their creativity. So, for example, we've started to talk about, could we make sure we invest in some recording equipment so the students could set up their recording studio, they could do some podcasts from Salalah to the rest of the world about life as a student in that part of the world. So I do believe personally that students shouldn't just be studying sort of academic subjects. The curriculum should be broad and balanced. Yes, there should be traditional academic subjects, but there should also be lots of opportunity to develop technical, career, vocational skills alongside those, ideally for all students. How would schools take off if schools infrastructure decide whether it has capacity to run whatever field it chooses to implement? Wow, how would schools infrastructure decide whether it has capacity to run whatever field it chooses to implement? Right, yeah, so I think that's interesting. I mean, we're about to start. I mean, Les, my director of IT, he has done a massive renovation of our IT infrastructure, both here in Muscat and also in Salalah over the last 3.5 years since it's been here. And he's done a huge amount of work. And we are about to do, I think what you're suggesting there, we are now, having done a lot of work to get our IT infrastructure to where we are going to do a thorough review of our IT infrastructure. We're going to set out a topographical map of all our different programs, understand where we are, because it's very easy now to forget all the different components of your IT infrastructure. So we're going to review very carefully where we are. We're going to review where we actually want to get to in the next 3 to 5 years. So what's our vision for how we want to develop our IT support of teaching and learning? And then we're going to draw up a roadmap of how we're going to get to from where we are to where we want to get to. And before we decide on where we want to get to, we are going to benchmark that against best practice in international schools, in British education in the UK, in international schools around the globe. And we don't think we can probably do that work all on our own. And so we are thinking very seriously about working with an education consultancy who can help us with that huge piece of work. Because it's not just this, where are we getting to from where we are, and that analysis and the benchmarking. We also want to engage with our stakeholders in our schools community and discuss those questions with them. Where do we think we are? What's working well? What would be even better? What do you want to do over the next 5 years? So I think that's a very good question. But I think increasingly schools, we need to think about how we engage and work with experts in the sector who can help us with that piece of work. Thank you very much. And it's been a pleasure to be part of this virtual summit. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Such an enlightening session. We all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being with us today.